Okay. Oh, it is so hot in
I'm
here.
schwitzing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Doesn't this shirt kind of look like a gi?
A
Like it
little bit.
looks like a big karate.
A little bit.
This is
A
a
little
new
fight.
one. This is a new one. I don't know what karate moves those are.
The best.
You're not a karate kid. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Relationshit, our weekly after show about our podcast, Relationshit. We are your hosts, the Fratellis. I'm Marko.
And I'm Tony.
And it is another Friday, so welcome back.
Friday, y'all.
We're so excited to have you all back. We had a very interesting topic to talk about this week, which was good and bad relationship advice.
Mm-hmm.
Tony and I spent the episode talking about some of the best and worst relationship advice that we've ever received in our lives. So you'll have to make sure to tune into the episode of the podcast so that you could hear a little bit about that. We read an amazing article that kind of outlined some of the worst worst advice that you could possibly even receive at all at any given time. But like what it means and how to do better and be better about getting those types of things. So today we read another article that was absolutely amazing. It was on Talkspace.com actually, and it's the 8 worst pieces of relationship advice. And so today we are going to go through each and every one of them, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the good and the bad, and definitely the bad, and then what they mean and how to be better about doing it. So
yeah, these are some doozies.
They're very interesting. So the first one is if you fight, you're more passionate. And this says no matter what platitudes you might read on Instagram, frequent fights don't make your relationship passionate, they make your relationship unhealthy. I think that's super fascinating. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, so often people will say that they're passionate, that it's just the heat of the relationship, but in reality, frequent fighting is a bad sign.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can say, we always make it cutesy, right? We're headstrong and we're stubborn and we care a lot about everything, but at the end of the day, you're fighting like a couple of weirdos, and you should probably stop doing things like that. So, I think that's super interesting. Happy wife, happy life. This is number 2.
Favorite.
I've always thought that this one was like super stupid. I was like, what does that mean? What about happy husband? Where's the rhyme for that?
It is insulting and sexist and misogynistic for sure.
Yeah, all of those things. And this definitely says that is crazy. Like, give the poor woman some credit, right? Like, make her not feel like she's the irrational one that you have to, like, make sure she stays happy. And yeah, I'm placating.
Well, and you both deserve to be happy.
Absolutely, 100%. Number 3, never go to bed angry. We actually talked about this during the podcast. This is also a very dangerous one because saying never go to bed angry is really, really terrible, because they even say this, like, sometimes just getting like a little bit of sleep will be like super helpful for a couple.
Yeah, well, and they say that if you can hash it out, then go ahead. But if you can't, you shouldn't, because all that's going to do is spend 7 hours fighting, and then you're tired, which makes you more likely to fight tomorrow.
Right. Another one that I've always cared about too is don't fight hungry.
Oh.
Because you end up fighting. It's kind of the
like
same
not
theory.
Shopping hungry.
Well, it's kind of like the same thing with like don't go to bed angry, because like sometimes like putting food in your stomach is like super helpful, because like then you're able to think a little bit clearer, like you're able to be a better person at the end of it. So I think it's super helpful. Number 4, you can change your partner.
No, you can't.
This is something, do you remember, this is something that I said a long time ago. I was like, people don't change. Like, and to think that you can change somebody or make them change is like just not super helpful. Not to you, not to them. It's disappointing. Both people like literally feel like they're spinning their wheels and not getting anything out of it. So it's super helpful to not try to change anybody, to just either understand that's who they are, and if the person decides that there are things that they want to get better at or do better, they'll make that decision. You're not the person to go around deciding that for them.
Well, and it's definitely good advice to accept a person for who they are.
Yeah, I mean, but look, at the end of the day, we all have things that we should be better at or we should do better at. So to think that everybody is like perfect and you just need to be happy with that and that's the beginning and end of it, I think is a little dangerous. But at the end of the day, I think it's really important that you can sit back and say that there are certain things that you would enjoy if they paid attention. Like, I almost think that being together, especially within a relationship, you should kind of create like a new sort of normal, right? So things you used to do, things that used to serve you back in the day, can't serve you the same way they do when you're in a relationship. So I think it's really important to adjust, not necessarily change. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I would just say that if you can accept your partner for who they are, then you're going to have a lot less fights. And if there are things that you just can't take about them, recognize that early and figure out whether that's something you can live with for the rest of your life.
I think that there are a bunch of people who stay single because they come to the realization that you can't change anybody, and they are much better off happy. So I think that the only problem with that is that you end up creating a lot of people who just can't be in a relationship because they can't bother dealing with somebody who eats their food without a fork. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, or something like that. Who knows? Like, do you see what I'm saying? But I just feel like you should just always be in the spirit of creating new realities. That's just me personally. Adjusting, if you will, as opposed to trying to change. Have a baby, get married. It will fix everything.
Do we even have to get into that?
It doesn't fix anything.
All it does is add more stress to a stressed relationship. Don't do it.
The next one, jealousy means they love you. This is a dangerous one as well, because some girl, I can't tell you how many girls I know that are thought that it was so cute that their man was so jealous. That's not cute,
especially when it starts to border on controlling.
Well, that's literally all it is. And if you can't trust your partner, then should you really be with them anyways? 7, love is enough. This is also super dangerous, right? Because we always say love conquers all. It doesn't. And love should not be the only thing that you use, that you put everything weight upon, right? Like, it just should not happen.
I remember watching this movie called Life as a House, and it's a wonderful movie. But at one point, Kevin Kline's character says, love is not enough, it's not even close.
Sure.
And I remember profoundly being affected by that. And then reading this article, it kind of hit me again. It makes sense, because if one of you wants a baby and the other doesn't, love's not going to fix that. If one of you wants to live in Paris and the other wants to live in a tiny town, love's not going to fix that, Nope. So it's interesting.
Yeah. The last one, number 8, a good relationship doesn't require work. That, whoever told you that should be hanged by their toenails. Because there's just no way.
Work, communication, compromise,
everything, all listening. Of it is work. It takes a lot of effort. So the one thing that they did say is that therapy provides the best advice for healthy partnerships. So that is something that you should definitely listen to, because at the end of the day, there's nothing better than chit-chatting with a professional so that you can make sure you and your partner are okay. So that's going to do it for this week's episode of Relationshit. Thank you for watching as we've talked more about this week's topic from the podcast.
Make sure you visit our website, podrelationshit.com, for more relationship content and information about the podcast.
And while you're there, fill out a listener situation or email us at relationshipquestions@gmail.com. Once a month, we will answer your questions on the podcast and do our best to give you some guidance.
And if you're not a Patreon member already, head to patreon.com/podrelationship and start donating today. Your donations will give you early access to the podcast and even give you behind-the-scenes interviews with our weekly guests.
We also work with some amazing brands and services, so please show them some support. Head to parasso-usa.com today for all your shave and beard needs. Use promo code Relationshit20 at checkout and get 20% off your purchase.
And for your mental health needs, visit betterhelp.com/Critellis and get 10% off your first month of teletherapy.
And finally, head to podcastawards.com right now and vote for me and Tony as the best in the LGBTQ category. We would love some love in the People's Choice category as well, but really want to win the LGBTQ category, so do us a solid and vote for us right now.
And make sure to check out Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to continue the conversation. We are at Pod Relationshit on all platforms. Have a wonderful rest of your week. We love you all.
Bye.